Konnichiwa. What's the first drink that comes to mind when someone mentions Japan, the fantastic and colorful world of weirdness? It's sake, right? Well, it's time for a quick re-education. A new giant is emerging in Nippon, and this one is not a sea monster. It's the increasingly beloved Japanese whiskey, which is obviously big in Japan. Sorry, we had to. And it's taking over the world. So how did it all happen? It's an exciting tale of seafarers, Scotland, science, wood, Bill Murray, and Matthew Perry. We'll get to that. In the 17th century, Japan isolated itself from everyone. The government wanted to limit the cultural and religious influence of the European traders, and they remained hermits for 2 centuries, until Matthew Perry came to Tokyo in 1853. Not Chandler, but an angry American sailor who just wanted to trade. Perry the Mariner, 10 ships, and thousands of men held Tokyo at gunship point and demanded Japan to start doing business again. The Japanese saw how far behind they were technologically compared to the Western world and got a serious case of FOMO. One of the coolest new things they saw was the amber spirit the Yanks called whiskey. The locals tried to recreate it, unsuccessfully, so in 1918, they sent a young chemist from an ancient sake-making family to Scotland. His name was Masataka Takasuro, and he became a total Scotch geek. When he came back to Japan, he started making whiskey with his new pal, Shinjiro Tori, the pharmaceutical tycoon. Now, Takatsuru wanted to build a distillery in Hokkaido because its landscape is similar to Scotland. But Tori decided to settle down in Yamazaki. When the duo eventually split up, Takatsuru moved to Hokkaido, establishing Nikka in 1934, while Tori renamed his business to Suntory. Today, Nikka and Suntory are still whiskey powerhouses and huge rivals. By the way, Suntory is just Tori-san backwards. Clever, huh? Alright, but what makes Japanese whiskey so special? Granted, it's heavily influenced by Scotch, but it's way more aromatic and lighter. And there's a secret weapon behind that. Meet the Mizunara oak. Mizunara is a premium kind of wood, usually used for fancy furniture, and its casks impart lavish flavors of sandalwood and coconut. Cool fact, the Mizunara tree needs to be at least 200 years old before it can be turned into a barrel. However, the uniqueness of Mizunara proved to be both a blessing and a curse. When whiskey is matured for only a couple of years in it, it becomes intense and way too woody. That's why they considered Mizunara inferior to the European oak. But when the Japanese tasted whiskey that spent 2 decades in Mizunara casks, they realized they hit the jackpot. It became a domestic hit during World War II, and when Japan was occupied by the Americans and the British, they fell in love with the local whiskey too. When the Allied forces left, whiskey gave way to Western-style drinks such as beer, wine, vodka, and gin. But not for long. When Japan experienced its economic miracle in the 80s, whiskey became the king again, the average Japanese drinking 3 liters per year. The demand was astronomical, and in a few decades, it would get even wilder when the 2 Murrays happened. First, Bill Murray drank Suntory whiskey in the 2003 film Lost in Translation, showing the bottle to millions of moviegoers who yelled "Suntory time" every time they ordered it. Then Jim Murray, the alpha and omega of whiskey reviewing, decided the Suntory's Yamazaki Sherry cask was the best whiskey of 2015. That kind of exposure made Japanese whiskey a global blockbuster. What was once a copycat and an apprentice became a serious rival of Scotch. So from now on, whiskey should be the first thing you think of when Japan is mentioned. Yes, even before sushi. Kanpai!